Okay, the following item is public hearing item number 21, application for certificate of appropriateness. Borough of Manhattan, docket number 156441, block 646, lot 27, 875 Washington Street, aka 859-877 Washington Street, aka 428-432 West 14th Street, and 427-429 West 13th Street, Gansevoort Market Historic District. A Queen Anne-style market building designed by John Jordan and built in 1887. Application is to replace storefront infill.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Olivia Brzee, Preservation Staff. The item is 875 Washington Street, and the application is to replace storefront infill. 875 Washington Street is a Queen Anne-style market building built in 1887, located within the Gansevoort Market Historic District on a through-block site here, shaded in pink, bounded on the north by West 14th Street, on the west by Washington Street, and on the south by West 13th Street. The proposed area of work is limited to the southwest corner of the building, seen in this existing conditions photo, encompassing the 3 southernmost bays on Washington Street and all 7 of the bays on West 13th Street. The applicant is seeking approval to remove non-historic infill and 1 bay of historic masonry infill in order to install black finished aluminum storefronts with transoms to match the design of the commission-approved storefronts occupying the remainder of the building's ground floor at Washington Street and West 14th Street, seen in this photo taken from the corner of Washington West 14th. These storefronts were approved by the commission at a hearing in 2005. And John Field of Building Studio Architects is here to walk you through the details of the proposal.
Good afternoon. I am John Field, architect, Building Studio Architects. This is 875 Washington Street, our storefront replacement here at the corner of 13th Street. Olivia has run through most of this. I won't tell you where it is. Presently, it's Hogs and Heifers. It's been that way for 20 years. In 2005, the storefronts all along Washington and 14th Street were replaced with glass and aluminum infill. Our proposal in the bays along Washington Street and the bays along 13th Street is to replace in kind, matching with the existing storefronts. This is the corner of 14th Street and Washington Place. It's an analogous corner. I'm going to call attention to this bay here, which had a pilaster that was created at the time and inserted into a larger bay to regularize the pattern of bays along 14th Street in a similar fashion to what is along Washington Street. Other buildings in the district that have this glass and steel infill are everywhere. Our adjacent properties, both across the street and across 13th Street, next to us on 14th Street, continuing elsewhere throughout the Gansevoort Market District. Our infill on Washington Street is replacing decrepit, non-historic infill. On 13th Street, we have this 1 bay, analogous to the 14th Street bay, which has a portion of historic material. The rest of it is non-historic brick.
What's that material?
We'll go right to it. This is brick with a medallion and a brownstone water table that is kind of hard to see. It's easier to see here. And then more brick infill. This was cut at some point and a door was inserted here, but this is that double wide bay with the very same sprinkler standpipe connection that on 14th Street they had inserted another pilaster.
So which is the existing bay that
Sorry.
you're taking out?
This piece here,
Which is?
this piece from the door to the pilaster is this existing historic material, or original brick. We are infilling that bay, 1, 2, on this track, 3, with a new pilaster that matches These other cast iron pilasters will move us in cast aluminum and aluminum and glass storefront to continue to run around.
So what's your overriding purpose of doing this? Clean it all up?
To clean this up, this is retail, this is a retail environment now, it's no longer an ice warehouse or meatpacking district, and times have changed in the district, and we show our wares instead of freezing them. The clients do intend this to be retail, and do want to keep their block front open.
Okay. Any other question? Any questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
So that last statement of yours kind of notwithstanding, I know that it's retail and now we show our wares. And when it was meat, we also showed the wares because the meat hung outside. But can you just talk about the idea of continuing to open these things in terms of the appropriateness in the district and the character of the district?
Well, it's the evolving character of the district. I mean, this was landmark at a point in the 80s. It was 2000, sorry, 2005, 2003.
2003.
Right.
And it was, it was a bar long before that. This really builds a street front continuity. The marquee to the building is in pretty good shape. From the land, it's not perfectly original. The marquee was changed. Instead of being squared off, it's now rounded. This all happened pre-designation. The cornice was removed. I have the historic photographs. The cornice was put back pre-designation. So there's been attention to the building throughout the years. But right now, this is one piece of the building that sort of is discontinuous underneath this original historic marquee and the building facade.
Yes?
Yeah, given that there is a historic feature that's, is there, can you think of a way that you might be able to salvage and utilize that feature in your design so as to, even if it's new, it could be,
We looked at a couple of options to do that. The view is that it's going to crumble as it's moved. It is old brick. Whether it was an oculus or a medallion originally, I'm not sure. The brick in the infill looks different than the brick surrounding. And it is an option, but it didn't present well to either opening the storefront or the physical abilities.
so that whole section is not, you don't think is original, and it's just that it
Well, the substance of the medallion, the masonry oculus, round porthole, whatever you call it, is original. This piece of brick is original because of the brownstone water table that actually matches the detail on the column. But this, from what we can tell, may not be.
The medallion itself?
The
Insert.
infill insert inset into the medallion. It's been painted over and over and over. The brownstone coins are not in great condition. Those are crumbled and soft. And more significantly to us, it's not a complete bay. It's a partial bay. This door was saw cut through here. And keeping this rhythm of bays and making an effort to restore a column and keep this facade uniform around the building is the intent of the design.
And is it one store or two stores?
Presently, it's one store. It is just the Hogs and, I can go back.
No, but your plan, is it
Ours
one
is,
store?
it
and
is
your
one
plan-
store of all 600 square feet.
So it's still one store?
And it's still one store. From these three bays on Washington Street, all of the other bays going to 14th Street are already glass and aluminum.
Or already,
Glass and aluminum. That was the storefront that was previously approved in 2005.
Okay, any other questions? Any testimony? But we do have I have a
Landmarks Public Aesthetics Committee, the Community Board 2 resolution, basically recommending denial. I'll read it, it's short. Whereas the application could have been a clear opportunity to tell a story and to pay appropriate homage to the history of the district, which is being increasingly erased since designation, instead of being preserved, and whereas the application seeks not to preserve or restore historical references, but rather to replace them with a non-historical retail showcase, taking away any original meat market detail, whereas some of the existing banal storefronts were installed prior to designation, they therefore should not be used as reference for justification for the removal of unique details like the brownstone medallion. Now be it resolved that Community Board 2 recommends denial of this application, which seeks to continue the trend in the district to remove historic material, replace it with a bland, standardized storefront. And that's a committee, not full board as far as I can tell yet. This was a committee that acted in June. Anything further to add?
No, I would add in comment to their reference, the storefronts were approved by the commission. All of them.
You mean down the block?
Our storefronts
Yeah.
down the block
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
approved by the commission.
Yeah.
And some of those have been installed or not?
All of them.
All of them,
They've all been
yeah.
installed since
Yeah, no.
2005.
Yeah.
But, so, what you're saying is incorporating this one piece of this one span of wall would not lend itself to being a wall in a commercial.
Correct.
I mean, I
In
just,
this-
you know,
Yeah.
not everything has to, because you have glass all the way on it, that doesn't mean everything has to be
If,
glass.
understood, the area we're talking about is here. This is the present layout of the bar. It's all walled in and dark. They make a lot of noise and a lot of music. This is the area of the medallion here, where we'll be adding another egress door in the module of the storefront and maintain some visibility to the interior.
Okay, and going back to the community board for a moment, they do say some of the existing storefronts were installed prior to designation, not all. Some,
Okay.
Anyway.
I'm pretty sure the whole thing was done under the same.
yeah. Maybe on this stretch, yes, where Scoop is and everything. No,
Where
Scoop
it's
was definitely there before designation. I remember walking around and seeing it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, I remember that.
I walked around there with somebody who said, "Oh, Scoop's here?"
They may have changed their storefront or expanded then.
Right, okay. Okay, discussion then. Yes.
Well, I don't know if this is an idiosyncratic point of view, but, you know, I sort of agree with the sentiments of the community board that slowly but surely we're heading toward these generic solutions everywhere. And this is a wonderful idiosyncratic little piece of wall with paintings, with the sign of the saloon that's still behind it. I'm fine with what you want to do, except I would save that one panel. Or that one piece of it. I don't think the little brownstone piece next to it is worthy. But the other thing is of a whole. It's like a graphic piece of art almost if you view it separately. So I could go along with eliminating that. I mean, I think it adds to the streetscape, and of course it is original fabric. Let's not forget as well.
Michael?
I'm okay with the application in general, but I feel very strongly that that bay is an important historical reference and needs to stay.
Yeah, I agree, and then it's just a whole story that this is the meat packing district, it isn't the club and bar district, and in terms of the historic district, right, in terms of why it was designated. And so this idea of cleaning everything up and making it look like everywhere else is not appropriate to the historic district's retention.
Yeah, I think often people don't, operators of establishments don't think about the fact that it might actually be something really to become a signature little thing for them and attract people that want to, say, hey, wow, that's really great. The one thing I would say is, you know, you wouldn't have to preserve the whole bay in order to preserve the element, though. You could have it be a smaller, you know, bay and just reconfigure that a little bit so that you could make sure you had sufficient space around it to preserve it. And, you know, you could still have large windows and whatnot next to it. But I feel the same way that something ought to be done to preserve that element, make sure it doesn't disappear, because it's been there since 1887, not the interior, but the thing itself, you know, it's worthy of preservation.
Okay.
And I agree, I think that something needs to be preserved. If it's not preserved the whole day, then at least something symmetrical around the emblem.
Approve it with modifications? Sarah? Okay. Hearing closed, please. Motion and second. Fred?
In the matter of 875 Washington Street, also known as 859, 877 Washington Street, or 428, 432 West 14th Street, and 427-429 West 13th Street in the Gansevoort Market Historic District. The application is to replace the storefront infill. I recommend approval, noting that the removal of the non-historic brick and concrete infill, including roll-down gates, tracks, and housing, will eliminate unsympathetic alterations that detract from the significant architectural features of the building. That retaining the cast iron piers will preserve the significant architectural features of the building's base. That the proposed new cast aluminum replica pier will match the design, details, proportion, and finish of the historic cast iron piers, and will maintain the rhythm created by the existing piers on the ground floor. That the proposed storefront infill, consisting of black finish, metal framed display windows, transoms, and doors, will fit within the openings established by the cast iron piers and will match the existing storefront infill located on Washington and West 14th Streets, thereby bringing uniformity to the building space. That the simple design and transparency of the proposed storefront infill will reflect the district's industrial and commercial character and recall the district's historic loading bays. That many of the storefronts and entrances at neighboring buildings within the streetscape are modern replacement installations and feature elements with varying levels of historic precedent. Therefore, the presence of a storefront with modern design elements and simple details at this location will be compatible with the streetscape. And we further recommend or require that the historic infill be retained and that the decorative roundel be salvaged and incorporated within the new storefront.
Second.
And I should say, and
Yeah.
not relocated, remain
Yeah.
in place.
Because it likely would be
Right.
lost otherwise, yeah.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?